Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 76 of Cameron Sports Podcast. It's host here, Cameron Lindsay. We're back with a brand new episode. I'm here for my college football national championship prediction between Notre Dame and Ohio State. And we're finally here. The game is Monday on Martin Luther King Day. And I'm here to give my prediction. Let's get right into it. I want to start with Notre Dame's path to the national championship. That have a 14-1 overall record this season. Only loss coming to Northern Illinois week 2 during the regular season. They have defeated number 10 Indiana 27-17 in the first round at home. They defeated in that game quarterback Riley Leonard went 20 of 33, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. So he had a good game. In round 2, they defeated Georgia 23-10 in the Sugar Bowl, which is a neutral site game. Quarterback Riley Leonard in that game went 15-24 for only 90 yards and 1 touchdown. He had 14 carries for 80 yards on the ground. So in that game, he used his legs really more than he did his arm. And in the semifinal, they defeated number 6 Penn State in the Orange Bowl, 27-24 with a game-winning field goal. Riley Leonard in that game went 15-23, 223 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Now, Notre Dame's path has been pretty solid. You have defeated number 10 Indiana. They dominated Indiana at home in the first round. They dominated a Georgia team in a neutral site in the Sugar Bowl, even though they didn't have Carson Beck, but that Georgia defense was still elite. So Notre Dame did enough to win that game. They pretty much dominated Georgia, even though they did have a backup quarterback. And they defeated number 6 Penn State, even though I would argue Penn State should have won that game. But Drew Aller threw a bad pick late in the game that set up Notre Dame to kick the game-winning field goal. So I would have thought, if you watched my last college football playoff episode, I had predicted it'd be Penn State and Ohio State in the national championship game, an all Big Ten national championship game. And it seemed like that was going to be the case. It was a good game, close, but Drew Aller made a bad throw late in the game that he said in the post game that he was trying to throw the ball away, but he didn't throw it enough to where it will hit the ground, and the defender ended up picking it off. But Notre Dame has a very great underrated defense. So don't let that fool you. They really do have a great secondary, a legit defense. So it doesn't surprise me that Notre Dame caused turnovers late in the game against Penn State, because they do have an elite defense. I just thought that Penn State had probably more of the skilled position players, like at running back and receiver. Even though Notre Dame pretty much shut down their receivers, I don't think any of their receivers had a catch in that game. But the only person that had a catch in that game was Tyler Warren, number 44, the tight end for Penn State. He had 2 touchdowns in that game, so he had a real good game in that. But other than that, no Penn State receiver really had a catch in that game. And now that I think Drew Aller's coming back, both the running backs is coming back, but a couple of their receivers transferring. So, but Notre Dame defense is legit. Now, Riley Leonard, he's a decent good quarterback. He's a transfer from Duke. He was at Duke the last couple of years, transferred to Notre Dame during the offseason. And he had, like I said, in the first round against Indiana, he went 20 of 33, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Against Georgia, he went 15 of 24 for 90 yards. He had 1 touchdown pass. He had 14 carries for 80 yards, so he used his legs more than in that game. He also used his legs a bit in this Penn State game, so Jeremiah Love was the only one that was a threat in that game. It was Riley Leonard using his legs. But yeah, he did turn the ball over a couple times with 2 picks. He went 15 of 23, 223 yards, 1 touchdown in the game against Penn State, besides the 2 picks. So I think for Notre Dame to win this game, Riley Leonard is going to have to effectively use his legs, not turn the ball over. Jeremiah Love is going to have a good game. He had a decent game against Penn State. Now in the first half, he wasn't really a factor because he's dealing with that. He has a knee brace on his knee. But in the second half, he had about 40, 50 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. So he turned it up a bit. The Jeremiah Love, the sophomore running back from Notre Dame, he turned it up a bit. So I expect him to be a possible factor in this game if Notre Dame wants to win. If they want to win, he has to be a factor. Riley Leonard has to use his legs effectively, not turn the ball over, because this Ohio State defense is no joke. But speaking of Ohio State, their path to the national championship, 13-2 record, only 2 losses came to Oregon and Michigan during the regular season. In the first round, they defeated number 9 Tennessee 42-17 at home in the first round. Quarterback Will Howard went 24-29, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick in that game. Wide receiver freshman Jeremiah Smith had 6 catches for 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. And they defeated number 1 Oregon in the Rose Bowl in the second round, 41-21. Quarterback Will Howard went 17-26 for 319 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Jeremiah Smith had 7 catches for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then in the semifinal game against number 5 Texas, they defeated them 28-14 in round 3 in the Cotton Bowl. Quarterback Will Howard went 24-33, 289 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. So Ohio State has been looked really, really good. And I was watching First Take or something, and they said the same. They don't know what Ryan Day said to Ohio State after that Michigan game, but they have been red hot. They have. And I said in the beginning of the playoffs, I said Ryan Day's going to be, if you watch my episode, Ryan Day's going to be coaching for his job. There's no way you can lose to Michigan 4 years in a row, not win a Big Ten championship, not win a national championship. Because so far since Ryan Day been at Ohio State, he has not won a national championship. He's going to the college football playoff, but he's not won a national championship. So I feel like you lose to your rival 4 years in a row, no Big Ten championship for 4 years in a row, and no college football playoff national championship. That's unacceptable. But he's gotten Ohio State ready to play. They dominated Tennessee at home 42-17. I picked Ohio State, to win that game because due to the redshirt freshman Nico Ialava having not much experience in a big game like that. But I thought it would be close. I didn't think they would dominate Tennessee like that. Jeremiah Smith had a phenomenal game. They couldn't guard him one-on-one. They couldn't guard him two-on-one. And then against Oregon, I went back and forth in that game. And now, if you watch my episodes during this college football season, I picked Oregon to beat Ohio State in the regular season, which they did. They beat them by 1 point. But I was like, okay, but I got Ohio State beating Oregon in a rematch in the Big Ten championship game. That didn't happen due to Ohio State losing to Michigan during the last game of the season, and therefore led to Penn State going to the Big Ten championship game. But when Ohio State got matched up with Oregon in the Rose Bowl in round 2, something like in my gut, I had a bad feeling about Oregon. And Oregon been looking good all season, the most consistent team all year. They've been number 1 ever since the college football playoff rankings came out in November. They've been number 1. But I had to go back to re-watch that game against Ohio State. And Ohio State, it was going back and forth, but Ohio State looked like they had that game won. It was just due to poor time management by Will Howard and Ryan Day and one offensive pass interference call on Jeremiah Smith. If it was for those few things, Ohio State probably would have won that game and played Oregon or Penn State in the Big Ten championship game. But yeah, I thought I had to go with Ohio State because Ohio State got the more skilled players on offense with Jeremiah Smith, Cornell Tate, if I pronounce his name right, Emeka Ibuka. They got Travion Henderson and Quinshawn Judkins, that two-headed monster at running back. Both have almost 1,000 yards or 1,000 yards rushing between both of them. And Will Howard has been playing decent ball. They got Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator. Defense, they legit. With Caleb Downs, arguably the best safety in all college football. They got Sawyer, a five-star player. They got another 5-star I forgot how to pronounce his name. And I went back in the ESPN 300 in the class of 2021. They got like their 2021 class had like five 5-stars in the top 10. Quinn Ewers at the time was committed and signed to Ohio State before he transferred to Texas. And I'm like, wow, this Ohio State team is loaded. And in that game against Texas, Jack Sawyer had a strip sack against his former roommate and Ohio State teammate Quinn Ewers. The strip sack took it all the way to the house, and Ohio State ended up going 28-14. And I think that right there, I think, was poor play calling by Texas. By Steve Sarkisian. But it is what it is. But I just think Ohio State has too much talent on both sides of the ball. Caleb Downs, Jack Sawyer, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Emeka Ibuka, Cardell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, who's their best player as a freshman. They just got too much talent, and that's why I didn't think Oregon was going to win that game. Now against Texas, I was like, it may be a little closer than it was against Oregon, which it was. If you go back and watch that game against Texas and Ohio State, it was closer. It was 21-14. Texas was driving. They had a chance to tie the game, but like I said, Jack Sawyer, who was a former number one player in the country in the class of 2021, had a strip sack fumble, took it all the way back, and Ohio State went up 28-14. And even in this game, Jeremiah Smith didn't even have a good game. He only had one catch for 3 yards. So Texas did a phenomenal job guarding Jeremiah Smith, but I don't expect that to happen again. I think he's going to have a way better game. Even though Notre Dame secondary is very legit, arguably better than Texas in secondary. But I don't think he'll have a game like that for one catch for 3 yards. I don't see that happening at all. But yeah, like I said, Will Howard has been looking pretty legit. I want to say Will Howard is a legit NFL starting quarterback, but he's an upgrade of what Ohio State had last year at quarterback, and he's doing enough, especially with the talent he has around him. He's doing enough to make sure he doesn't turn the ball over because he has a lot of talent around him with those receivers, with Jeremiah Smith and those running backs. But like I said, with that being said, like I went thinking, and my coworkers asked me all week, Cam, who do you got between Ohio State and Notre Dame? Who you got? And I was like, I'm waiting to do my pick on my podcast because I want to do this with y'all on my show. And obviously, I kind of had a feeling already when the semifinal games ended. I got to go to Ohio State. Ohio State is just too hot right now. From dominating Tennessee in the first round, dominating Oregon in the second round, pretty much dominated Texas, and now you got Notre Dame. Don't get me wrong, Notre Dame has looked good against Indiana. They looked good against Georgia. They looked good, decent against Penn State. But Ohio State is a different animal. And even though they lost their last regular season game to Michigan, it's like it really matters how you play your best football in the end. It's like the NFL. You want to save your best football towards the end of the season in playoffs. And Ohio State has been playing their best football this season in the college football playoffs. And with that being said, I'm going to have to go Ohio State over Notre Dame 34-17. I don't see how Notre Dame keeps up with Ohio State. If they do, it's going to be because of their defense. And I just don't see Riley Leonard having a game, like I said, because he's not known for really his arm. I mean, against Indiana, he had 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Georgia, he only had 90 yards, 1 touchdown. He used his legs. Against Penn State, he threw 2 picks. He had 1 touchdown and 223 yards. But this Ohio State defense is better than Tennessee's, better than Georgia's, better than Penn State. So I just think it's going to be too much for Notre Dame to hang around with Ohio State. I'm going 34-17. I think Jeremiah Smith is going to be the offensive MVP, and either Jack Sawyer or Caleb Downs is going to be the defensive MVP in the national championship. I'm going Ohio State to win this game. But I mean, like I said, and with this, I think there's gonna be no question that Ryan Day keeps his job, even if he loses his game. I think he still keeps his job because he did a phenomenal job coaching in the college football playoffs. You beat Tennessee. You beat the number 1 team in the country, Oregon. You beat another top 5 team in Texas. So I think he definitely deserve a pay raise if they can complete this run in the playoff and beat Notre Dame in the national championship game in Atlanta Monday, 7:30 p.m. But let me know in the comments who's your pick to win this game. Is it Ohio State? Is it Notre Dame? Who and why? Like I said, I definitely appreciate each one of y'all tuning in. Like I said, I definitely going to miss the college football season. I'm definitely going to have a lot to talk about during the off season. I have some good episodes that I'm working on that I'm going to do during the off season for the college football 2025 season. So I'm going to be doing episodes during the off season. And of course, the NFL playoffs is going on right now. I'm going to be doing an episode for the AFC, NFC championship game, the Super Bowl. So it's a lot coming up. I can't wait to talk about with y'all. But with that being said, like I said, I got Ohio State over Notre Dame. I appreciate each one of y'all tuning in for the episode of Cameron Sports Podcast. This has been your favorite host, sports podcast host, Cameron Lindsay, signing out. I'll catch y'all next time. Take care.